Hey, welcome. And now we can store whatsoever schedule date the vendor will select into our provider. Okay. Now to do this, we have to go to the provider folder and then the product underscore provider dot file and Ctrl and B to make this wide. And again, within the get form data parentheses, what we have to do is to create a new variable. And the type of value we are expecting is a date, right? So this is going to be a type of date time. Date, not data time, but daytime and daytime, yeah. And since we are currently not assigning any value to it, we can go ahead and say it can be null, and we can call this schedule schedule date. Okay, schedule date. Great. And we have to check again. We can just easily copy this now. I believe you might have mastered the process. And this is going to be schedule date. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy. And this is going to be the key and the value. But currently we have not yet passed in any value to this. Control B to make this wide. And back to the general screen. So what we have to do is to assign whatsoever schedule date the user will choose to that provider variable. To do this, scroll down. We already have the functionality to choose date, right? Remember we had earlier installed the show date picker. So what we can do is we can get the value of whatsoever I selected. To do this, over here, we can say dot then and default the then has this property known as value, which is referring to the actual selected value. And now we can use this function over here, and then we can call the product provider, then get from data, and now we have to pass the value to the schedule date, and the value is going to be whatsoever that was selected. And this is it. And what we want to do next is we want to display the selected data, the selected schedule date to our screen. But in order to do this, we have to format our date to look nice. So what we can do is scroll up. We can create a function over here. We can create this function and it's going to be a type of string and we can call this function formatted date. What we can do again, we can pass in a variable called date. So whenever we call this formatted date, we have to then pass in the value. And we can then say final and output date format, format, format is going to be equal to date format. So we want to choose how we want to format our date format, format. And now we have this error because we need to manually import the Intel package. So over here, we can then say import intl slash intl. Okay, and now we shouldn't have that error anymore. Great. And within here, we have to pass in how we want the date to be formatted. First of all, we want to have the day displayed, which can be 20, and we want to have the month. This is going to be capital. That is 2. Month is only 2, 30, 40. But year is going to be 3. Okay. 4, sorry. That is 20, 22, 20, 05, and so on. And so we created the variable to store the date format. And now we can create a final variable again. We can say output date, which is going to be the final result. Output date, and it's going to be equal to the output date format, then dot format. And we want to format the date we would pass in the future. And lastly, we have to return the output. We have to return the output date.